From America's newsroom, I'm Uma Pimaraju. News from a British paper saying it has never before seen videotape made by 9/11 ringleader Mohammed Atta. The Sunday Times of London is saying the tape shows Atta reading a document marked as a will in Arabic. Atta was at the controls of the first plane to hit the World Trade Center. The Sunday Times of London is planning to release the entire video on Sunday.
The Faces of Terror, a video showing 9/11 ringleader Mohammed Atta and hijacker Ziad Jarrah surfaces 6 years after it was made. It shows the terrorists laughing and joking before reading their last will and testament. A British newspaper posted the tape on the web.
A chilling look at two of the 9/11 hijackers, more than 1 year before the attacks. Ringleader Mohammed Atta laughing and joking with another hijacker, Ziad Jarrah. Jarrah, who piloted United Airlines Flight 93, which crashed into a Pennsylvania field. The video is dated January 18th, 2000. It's silent, and lip readers reportedly haven't yet been able to figure out exactly what they're saying. The Sunday Times of London posting the tape on its website, and Fox News speaking with the reporter who made it public. Amy Kellogg on Fox Top Story tonight from London. Amy?
Eric, to me, and I have spoken today with some Al-Qaeda experts, some journalists, and even the man who obtained the videotape, the most interesting part of this is the date on that tape, January 2000. That is before the War on Terror began. That is before the second Palestinian uprising began. And that is before former President Clinton gathered the Israeli and Palestinian leaders at Camp David for that marathon summit that came as close as any has to reaching a final peace deal for the Middle East. So they were very optimistic times, and that really does deflate the argument that many hardcore jihadists have made that we in the West have somehow brought this barrage of terrorism upon ourselves. Now, to the video that has just been released, it shows the 9/11 ringleader Mohammed Atta and another hijacker, Ziad Jarrah, in Afghanistan, having a laugh, making martyrdom statements. It is all surreal. Atta ultimately, of course, slammed his plane into the North Tower of the Trade Center. Jarrah's plane crashed in Pennsylvania. This apparently is the only time we see them together. The man who received the tape, Yosri Fuda, claims these two men are the key to understanding the phenomenon of 9/11 and this violent strain of jihad and terrorism, because these two were otherwise seemingly regular guys until the end. Not reclusive fanatics, not from grinding poverty or oppression, but educated and middle class and sophisticated. And Fuda claims that this video provides another piece of the complex psychological puzzle here.
What I find really significant about this tape is that it fills in a vacuum in the understanding of the plot towards what we came later to know as 9/11.
Fuda won't say how he obtained the videotape. He will say, however, that he's had it in his possession for a few days now. Eric?
He's known as the ringleader of 9/11, but so much about Mohammed Atta remains a mystery. He only showed up in glimpses, like on this airport security tape. That is until this weekend. A video made about 20 months before the attacks has surfaced, and it shows two of the hijackers like we've never seen them before. Here's CNN's Paula Newton.
The entire video is silent, and yet the images unnerving. The 9/11 mastermind and his accomplice laughing it up and then going through their lines for a performance of martyrdom wills. According to the Sunday Times of London, the tape was apparently shot in Afghanistan a full 21 months before 9/11. It is startling in the human portrait it paints of Mohammed Atta, AK-47 at his side, stage managing his look, just before he stares deadpan at the camera and gives what the paper claims is a death will, justifying himself for flying a plane straight into the World Trade Center. With his easy smile and comical posture, Ziad Jarrah is no less bizarre, and then he recites his will. He was the hijacker authorities believe was destined for Capitol Hill, but who then crashed a United Airlines flight in Pennsylvania. U.S. intelligence sources tell CNN they have been aware of the tape for years, even unsuccessfully tried to have it lip-read. It's assumed U.S. authorities found it in Afghanistan in late 2001, but never released it.
And I wonder why, because it would have benefited everyone.
Author of the Sunday Times article, Yosri Fuda, won't reveal his sources, but says the hour-long tape reveals much about how and why Atta, the so-called ringleader, was so carefully coached by Osama bin Laden.
If it wasn't for Atta, 9/11 may have never happened. The rest were like, they were described by some people as dumb and dumber wherever they went. What you needed towards the end of this plot is someone of the caliber of Muhammad Atta, someone to pull the plot together.
Osama bin Laden himself makes an appearance on the tape. Again, the whole thing is silent, but it's clear that bin Laden is holding court in Afghanistan,
where he carefully plotted the 9/11 attack. What is so striking about the incidents depicted in the video is that Al-Qaeda broke its own rules by bringing two key plotters together.
It must have been very important to the Al-Qaeda leadership at the time that they get a first-hand look at these fellows, because they were residing a great deal of responsibility in them. And perhaps it was thought that it would be important to bring these fellows to meet the Al-Qaeda leadership in Kandahar so that they could motivate them properly.
No one can know if bin Laden has since refined his strategy, finding it too risky to be as directly involved in future terror plots. But the play-by-play of this footage reveals a long and methodical path to terror. Paula Newton, CNN, London.
Well, the images are certainly drawing reaction tonight from around the world. But does this tape have a greater significance than that? Well, I put that question to CNN terrorism analyst Peter Bergen earlier tonight.
What's really interesting about Jarrah and Atta is two people, chalk and cheese. These guys hated each other, actually.
At one point, Atta... on the tape.
Say what?
Couldn't tell on the tape.
Yeah, well, Atta, Jarrah was sort of a Lebanese playboy who actually had a girlfriend, and she may even secretly have been his wife, somebody who was drinking occasionally. A more unlikely suicide attacker you can hardly think possible, somebody who made American friends when he was in the United States. Atta, on the other hand, really a very, a rabid misogynist, not a nice guy to be around, not a comfortable person to be around, a very bright person. But it's interesting on this tape, as you say, they appear to be pretty matey. But in reality, at one point, Atta wanted to get rid of Jarrah because he just really didn't like him, to the point where there were concerns within Al-Qaeda's leadership that the enmity between these two people might actually sabotage the 9/11 plan.
Now you can stay tuned to CNN day and night for the most reliable news about your security.